Hello, and welcome to the month of Spooky 2023. Scary stories are a part of life. We've been telling them since the dawn of man over campfires, radio broadcasts, television, and these days, social media. They remind us of our own mortality, get our adrenaline going, and send chills through our bodies that, well, we just can't explain. During this month, you can expect the unexpected, hear the unbelievable, and witness stories that will stretch your imagination. Why? Because that is what we do here at Ron's Amazing Stories. So settle in for the spooky and be prepared to be taken away from today.
Another 5-minute mystery.
This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by...
Ron, I found another Halloween poem.
Well, good for you, OP.
I want you to read it.
What about the 5-minute mystery?
Well, it is the month of Spooky, after all.
So it is.
Will you read it?
For you, OP, I will. Tonight is the night when dead leaves fly, like witches on switches across the sky. When elf and sprite flit through the night on a moony sheen. Tonight is the night when leaves make sound like a gnome in his home under the ground. When spooks and trolls creep out of holes, mossy and green. Tonight is the night when pumpkins stare through sheaves and leaves everywhere. When ghoul and ghost and goblin host dance round their queen. It is Halloween. Oh, I like that a lot.
Me too. By the way, I also have a Halloween joke for you.
Okay, let's have that.
Why shouldn't an angry witch take her broom trick or treating?
Well, I'm sure that I don't know.
She might fly off the handle.
What's that you say?
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. The month of Spooky continues with more amazing stories from the dark side. The first comes from Oliver Robertson, who is a ghost hunter from New York. His team investigates the William Floyd Estate, and what they encounter isn't quite human. Our featured story is another creepy one from Arch Oboler. This time, we visit his world and the folks in the script department. Was it murder or death from fear? Next, in a special edition of These Are Your Stories, I got together with Mary Campbell, and she told me the tale, The Thing at the Bottom of the Stairs. This is an epic story complete with sound effects. We end the show with Johnny, Is It True? Your Stories Too. A collection of quick ones that you have to decide if I made them up or are they true. So what do you say we get things going with this audiobook review from Audible? Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Audible has sponsored the show now since July of 2019. We have reviewed more than 140 audiobooks, and the list keeps growing. Did you know that Audible has over 200,000 books available? And a lot of those are included in the free catalog. Audible is amazing, and it is the perfect companion to Ron's Amazing Stories. If you like this podcast, you're going to love Audible. So what am I listening to? Well, another collection of horror stories titled Classic Tales of Ghosts and Vampires. This one contains 23 scarifying stories by Ambrose Bierce, O. Henry, F. Marion Crawford, H.P. Lovecraft, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Washington Irving, and many others. Truly a remarkable list of great authors from the 19th and 20th centuries. The stories themselves are read by some of the best narrators out there today. And here is a clip from the audiobook.
By now, the sun had completely slid from view, and in the semi-darkness, the place presented an even drearier aspect than before. With a great display of bravado, I stepped upon the veranda, slammed my suitcases upon a seat very much the worse for wear, and pulled lustily at the knob. Peal after peal reverberated through the house, echoing and re-echoing from room to room, till the whole structure rang. Then all was still once more, save for the sighing of the wind and the creaking of the shutters. A few minutes passed, and the sound of footsteps approaching the door reached my ears. Another interval, and the door was cautiously opened a few inches, while a head, shrouded by the darkness, scrutinized me closely. Then the door was flung wide, and Remsen, I hardly knew him, so changed was he, rushed forward and, throwing his arms around me, thanked me again and again for heeding his plea, till I thought he would go into hysterics. I begged him to brace up, and the sound of my voice seemed to help him, for he apologized rather shamefacedly for his discourtesy and led the way along the wide hall. There was a fire blazing merrily away in the sitting room, and after partaking generously of a repast, for I was famished after my long walk, I was seated in front of it, facing Remsen, and waiting to hear his story.
"Jack," he began, "I'll start at the beginning and try to give you the facts in their proper sequence. 5 years ago, my family circle consisted of 5 persons. My grandfather, my father, 2 brothers, and myself, the baby of the family. My mother died, when I was a few weeks old. Now—" His voice broke, and for a moment he was unable to continue. "There's only myself left," he went on, "and so help me God, I'm going too. Unless you can solve this damnable mystery that hovers over this house and put an end to that something which took my kin and is gradually taking me. Granddad was the first to go. He spent the last few years of his life in South America. Just before leaving there, he was attacked while asleep by one of those huge bats. Next morning, he was so weak that he couldn't walk. That awful thing had sucked his lifeblood away. He arrived here, but was sickly until his death a few weeks later. The doctors couldn't agree as to the cause of death, so they laid it to old age and let it go at that. But I knew better. It was his experience in the South that had done for him. In his will, he asked that a crypt be built immediately, and his body interred therein. His wish was carried out, and his remains lie in that little gray vault that you may have noticed if you cut around behind the house. Then my dad began failing, and just pined away until he died. What puzzled the doctors was the fact that right up until the end, he consumed enough food to sustain 3 men. Yet he was so weak, he lacked the strength to drag his legs over the floor. He was buried, or rather interred, with Granddad. The same symptoms were in evidence in the cases of George and Fred. They are both lying in the vault. And now, Jack, I'm going too. For of late my appetite has increased to alarming proportions, yet I'm as weak as a kitten.
Nonsense, I chided. We'll just leave this place for a while and take a trip somewhere, and when you return you'll laugh at your fears. It's all a case of overwrought nerves, and there's certainly nothing strange about the deaths you speak of. Probably due to some hereditary disease. More than one family has passed out in a hurry just on that account.
Jack, I only wish I could think so, but somehow I know better. And as for leaving here, I just can't.
This audiobook is a good listen for the month of spooky. It will really get you fired up for that primal event, Halloween night. I was surprised by 2 things on this one. As you might guess, stories are my thing. When I started listening, I was sure that I would know most of them. Over half of them I had never heard before. The second thing was the amount of care that was given to each story, which I found quite refreshing in this day of let's get her done mentality that we seem to have. So let me say that I do recommend this one, and you can get it at audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories for free. Here is what Audible has set up for us. They are offering a free audiobook and 30 days to give you the opportunity to check out the service. This also grants you access to the included catalog, which is being constantly updated with new titles. So, to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Thank you, Audible.
These are your stories, sent by you, for you.
Our story for today is one that you probably want to leave your lights turned on for. Many times we get stories that are nice, friendly, and even fun. This is not one of those. It takes place on a closed estate that has its very own graveyard. Add to that, the house and grounds have a history of being haunted by ghosts. Where is this place? Well, it's the William Floyd Estate. In September of 1862, the Civil War reached the William Floyd Estate. At that time, the majestic house was the home of John Gleston Floyd Sr. and his wife Sarah. Their 4th child, John G. Floyd Jr., enlisted and joined the Union Army at Staten Island, along with 27 other men from Long Island. John served as a 2nd lieutenant in the 145th New York Volunteer Regiment, Company G. John, unfortunately, was killed in the Battle of Gettysburg. The battle took a heavy toll on the 145th, and the remaining enlisted men were transferred to the 107th, the 123rd, and 150th Infantry. The regiment was discontinued. John's body was returned home at the request of his family. He was buried in the cemetery and is said to walk the grounds looking for his men. On July 16, 1867, John's sister was out riding her horse. She lost control of the animal after being startled by a rabbit. The horse ran headlong into a grove of apple trees. Mary, who was 12 years old, failed to duck and literally lost her head. It's said both headless rider and horse can be heard and seen to this day in that apple grove. Charles McGraney was a convicted killer. He was on his way to prison to be executed for his crimes. He was able to break free and found himself on the grounds of the estate. He thought to enter the main house to take the supplies he needed to get away. What he got was a shotgun blast to the face by John Sr. It is said that he walks the main house looking for revenge against John Sr. There are other stories that I could have related, but I think you get the idea. The William Floyd Estate is one haunted place. Our story today comes from Oliver Robertson, who resides in Brookhaven, New York. John is a ghost hunter, and he sent this in via the website. Hello, Ron. First, thank you for your podcast. Each week I look forward to what you have for me. My favorite is Ghost Stories with Sylvia, followed closely by These Are Your Stories. I've been a ghost hunter for 10 years now, and for the most part it's been pretty calm. That is, until I met up with the William Floyd Estate. A couple of our members have never come back after this one. We had gained special permission to roam the grounds at night. They would not let us enter the main house, but we had access to the graveyard, stable, and cornfields. It was late October, and there was a corn maze that had been set up. That is where we decided to begin our investigation. Mostly because it sounded like fun, and partly because it ended up at the entrance to the graveyard. Very creepy endpoint, don't you think? We had night cameras, audio recorders, and a ghost box with us. 4 of us took on this challenge while the rest of the group headed to the apple orchard. Rumor had it that there was a headless girl there. The path through the maze required that we walk in single file. I was in the lead, followed by Janice, then Anita, and in the rear was Big Mike. We were about 6 minutes in when Big Mike began to squawk.
Something's following us.
I stopped, and sure enough, I could hear the corn stalks behind us rustling. The wind? I asked.
What wind?
Retorted Mike. He was right. There was no breeze at all. I called out thinking that one of the group had decided to join us. There was no response. I told Anita to start recording, and Big Mike headed back to investigate. We stood silent, listening and waiting. We could hear the racket that Mike was making, but nothing else. It was then that Big Mike let out a scream. It tore through the night like a banshee. He came running back. I shined my flashlight at him, and he was pale. He also had a long scratch on his right cheek. "What happened?" I asked.
It tore into me. It was big, had claws, and looked like some impossible humanoid raven.
He was raving.
We gotta get out of here.
Well, not that way. Deep down, I wanted to confront whatever it was, but safety made more sense. We continued along the maze, right into a dead end. We would have to head back, after all. Mike was so shaken that I traded places with him and took the lead, heading back. Any thoughts of collecting evidence were long forgotten. We were almost back to the intersection when another scream rocked the cornfield. This time it came behind us and was not human. Decision made. We made our way back to the entrance and were huffing and puffing as we broke out. I turned back to look over the maze. A dark figure, about 6 feet tall, flew out of the cornfield and was heading towards the main house. It was dark, but its form seemed to have some kind of aura surrounding it. I felt chills go through me. We got back to where we had made base camp. We had set up cameras around the estate, and our tech guy was there monitoring them. He had not caught anything that we had seen, but he too had heard the screams. We waited for the rest of the group to arrive and called it a night. We have no evidence to support our claims other than the scratch on Big Mike's face. He and Anita left the group vowing to never go ghost hunting again. What happened? Heck if I know. There is quite a history to this place, but nothing that even suggests of a large humanoid raven that glows. Oliver Robertson, Brookhaven, New York. Well, do we have a new cryptid monster in Brookhaven? I surely don't know. That was one heck of a story, and I have to tell you, it was hard to read. I did do a lot of research on Brookhaven and Long Island in general, and you're right, there's nothing that even hints of what you saw. Long Island's history is filled with unique and bizarre stories, some based on fact, others not so much. From the Amityville horror murders and the Indian princess of Lake Ronkonkoma to alleged mind control experiments and mysterious objects being washed up on its shores. Why not an evil humanoid raven? Thank you, Oliver, for sharing your story. That's it for this time. If you have a story that you want to share like Oliver did, head to the main website at ronsamazingstories.com. Click on the story submission banner, leave your story, give it a title, and please tell me where you're from. I'll read it if I can. Our featured story is quite unique. It is titled Murder in the Script Department. Like last week, it comes from the demented mind of Arch Oboler and his OTR horror series, Lights Out. This one is gonna send chills through your body. To say that it is creepy is like saying water is wet. It makes you wonder what life was really like in the script department at Lights Out. Was Oboler a true master of the macabre? Were his stories based on real events? This one just might make you think they were. It is titled Murder in the Script Department, and it first aired on May 5th, 1943.
Arch Oboler's Lights Out, everybody.
This is Arch Oboler bringing you another in our series of stories of the unusual. And once again we caution you, these Lights Out stories are definitely not for the timid soul. So we tell you calmly and very sincerely, if you frighten easily, turn off your radio now.
Oh, what time is it? 10 minutes more. Gee, it's been a long day, hasn't it? I'll say so. If I never to see another script or typewriter, it'll be too soon. You were the one who wanted to get into radio. Radio. Sitting at a typewriter 8 hours a day, making samples. You were the one who said it'd be a shortcut. Some director'd walk into the script department, see you behind that typewriter, and say, "Where you been all my life?" Mary, stop it, will you? You think you're so cute, I don't see anyone whining.
Bernice, Mary. After all, this is a place of business.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't like to be the disciplinarian, but this is the third time that I found you quarreling with each other rather than working.
We weren't quarreling.
Perhaps not, but it sounded like it. You're setting a very unfortunate example for the other girls. I'm going to ask both of you a simple question. Do you or do you not want to continue working here?
We do.
Yes, of course we do. Very well. No more of this nonsense, then. There's a script that must be mimeographed first thing tomorrow morning, so the stencils will have to be out tonight. It shouldn't take you long. What's the matter with you girls? Have you any objections to working late tonight?
Oh, no.
I'd love it. Very well. All right, the rest of you girls, time to go home.
Yes, I'd love to stay overtime if I could type over her dead body.
Hush, hush, she'll hear you. Here's the script, girls. 20 pages. Divided up between yourselves.
Yes, ma'am?
When you're through, leave the stencils on my desk and lock the door behind you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, good night. Don't forget to turn out the lights as you go.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, girls, let's get out of here quickly so that Bernice and Mary can finish their work.
Of all the knock-kneed, blab-eared, long-necked, pot-heeled... Oh, stop it, will you? Let's type the darn thing off and get out of here. Well, what do you know? What's the matter? Look at the script we're supposed to type. Lights out. One of those things. Yeah. So what? I don't like to type them. They scare me. Are you kidding? Typing's typing no matter what you're typing. Not if it's one of those lights-out plays. Blood and people dying and murderers and worms. Ooh, forget it. Just words on paper. It scares me. Type with your eyes closed. Here, listen to this. Note to the sound department. At this point in the play, I want the sound of a body being turned inside out. I suggest the use of a wet rubber glove to plant the picture of a human being being deliberately turned. Oh, stop it, will you? Oh, for Pete's sake. It's only a sound effect. I was just reading. Will you type your script and let me type this? Don't go reading any of it out loud. All right. I wonder what kind of a screwball he is. Who? The fellow who writes these plays, you know. Arch Oboler? Yeah. Oh, I like him. Well, what are you talking about? You never even met him. Well, I like him anyway. But you just finished saying you don't like this. Well, I like his other plays. You know, the ones he does for the government. With sense to them. Personally, I think he's a wolf. Oh, what are you talking about? You know, one of these werewolves. I bet he eats his young. Well, don't talk like that. He's got a 10-month-old baby. I saw a picture of it. And it's real cute. Well, I still think... Well, for heaven's sake, just because the man writes fantastic doesn't mean he's fantastic. Will you look who's talking? Why, you're even afraid to type him. What are you afraid of, that the ghost will pop out of the pages and turn you inside out? Oh, stop it, will you, if you don't stop it? All right, let's type. How do you like that? What's the matter now? My typewriter's jammed. Can't move a key. B? What's the matter with you? Mine is too. My typewriter is too. Like the fellow said, c'est la guerre. Everything's falling apart. Suppose we'll have to use one of the other machines. Just when I was getting comfortable. I'll use Anita's. Yeah, I'm going to use Evelyn's. She won't care what I do with it. She's going to be a wave anyway. Mary, this one's jammed too. Yeah, so's Evelyn's. Try Elle's machine. She's always boasting about how fast it is. Why, it's jammed too. Well, so's this one. Well, what do you know? What is it, the typewriter gremlin? Mary, what's the matter? Your face. Let's get out of here. What's the matter? Let's get out of here. We've got overtime. I tell you, let's go home. Well, just because a typewriter jams up is no reason to have a fit. Well, I'm getting out of here, and you better come with me. Oh, you're crazy running out. What's come over you? What? Bernice! What's the matter with you now? What are you standing at the door with your back to me for? Stay or go? Bernice, come here quick. Oh, for Pete's sake. What's the matter with you? What are you standing there for with your hand on the knob? It's locked. What? Locked. Oh, you are crazy. Let me at it. Let me try. Why is it locked? Because some screwball janitor thought everybody'd left and locked the door, that's all. Say, somebody out there, let us out of here. We're locked in, hey! It won't do any good. That's what you say. I'll wake the dead. Hey, are you deaf or deaf or whatever it is? Somebody get a key and let us out. Hey, we're not slave labor. Let us out. What's the matter with me? Where are you going? All I've got to do is pick up the telephone and call communications. They'll get us out of here. Oh, yes, call them right away. Tell them we're locked. All right, I'm calling them. Hello. Answer me. What's the matter? Oh, I'm dead. Oh. Stop that. The operator thought we'd all gone home, so she disconnected the wire, that's all. Oh, for Pete's sake, of all the nincompoops, what's there to cry about? Oh, I'm afraid. So you're afraid, so I'm Queen of the May and there are roses in the air. What is this all about? What's all the hysteria? You don't understand. Don't say I don't. You stop crying. There was something terrible's going to happen. What are you talking about? We're in the script department of a broadcasting company, remember? Well, something jammed the typewriters. Something locked the door. Something... What do you mean, something? Something, I tell you. I tell you, you're crazy. I think I've known you all these weeks and never knew you had bats in your belfry. There's absolutely nothing that's happened. Why did you stop talking? Answer me. Telephone cord. The end, it's torn off. Yes. But I talked on this telephone only an hour ago, remember? Yes. How could it have gotten torn loose? I told you. Shut up. All right, maybe there is something screwy, I don't know. But I do know there's nothing to get hysterical about. This place only had windows I could call out. On modernistic air conditioning. Will you stop moaning?
Well, you're scared, too.
I'm not. Series of coincidences, that's all. What could it be? Answer me what? Who ever heard of anything happening in a place like this? Well, what are you looking at me like that for? This is no haunted house. You and me and a lot of other girls work here, remember? So if we're locked in and have to stay here all night, so what? The door's locked from the outside. The watchman downstairs, remember? So who could get in here to hurt us?
What if the locked door won't do any good?
What?
You heard me.
You're crazy, kid. Look, desks and chairs, fluorescent light, modern design, remember? We're not in a haunted house. Get that through your head. We're not in a haunted house.
Oh.
Well, what's the matter now? Get all through explain. What's the matter?
Something happened.
Happened?
Something in the air. What are you?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Over there at the end of the room.
The light must have burned out.
Oh.
I was right. Just to show you how crazy you've been. A couple of natural things happen and you start acting out a ghost story. You should join the Actors Union.
Bernice.
Well, one of the lights burned out. So what? There's one thing the script department's got. Plenty of light. Mary, why are you...
Another light. I saw it go out.
You're dreaming.
I tell you, I saw it go out.
You're crazy. It didn't.
I saw it.
Now, look here. There are 2, 4, 6, 8 lights in this place. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, don't give me any more of that lights out.
Another.
You're absolutely crazy. I'm scared just staying here with you.
Count them.
Why should I?
Count them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Not 8. 7.
Gee.
I told you. Oh, no. What?
Another one out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stop it.
Another one there.
Go.
Over next to Miss Winton's desk. Another one.
What?
Only 4 left. Only 4. What'll we do?
Only 4.
Who's putting them out?
I don't know.
Another. Oh. Only 3 more. If they go out, I'll die.
They won't go out. They can't go out. The switch. That's it. I'll hold the switch. I can turn out the lights if I hold the switch. It's all right, Mary. See? I got hold of the switch. Nothing
Another one. Another one.
But I was holding onto the switch. 2 lights. 2 lights in the dark.
Bernice. Oh, Bernice, hold me. I'm scared. Oh, gee, I'm scared.
It's all right. There's still 2 lights. 2 lights. They'll stay on. They will. I know they will.
They're both out. We're in the dark. Bernice. Where are you? Let me out of here. I'm afraid of the dark. Let me out of here.
Stop it. Isn't it bad enough without you driving me crazy? What's the good of your crying? There's a reason. There must be for this. Everything's got a reason. I know it.
I can't stand it. I can't.
Those blackout candles. Stop crying and let me think. Miss Winton had some blackout candles in her desk. I know she did.
Oh, don't leave me alone. Don't leave me in the dark, Bernice.
Will you stop it? I found them. Candles, matches. There. 3 candles like this one. And this one. See? Plenty of light now.
Who's there?
Nobody. There's a reason for everything, I tell you. I know what it is.
What?
The electricians, that's it. The electricians didn't know we were up here, and they were testing the lights. They'll go on any minute. Wait and see.
You think so?
Of course. Look, what'd I tell you? There they go on again.
Look at the ceiling. Oh no. Green. The light now is green. Green. All the light. Green. You lied to me. You said it was the electrician. Look at the light. It's green. It makes your face look green. You look dead. You hear me? Dead. You'll be dead and I'll be dead. We'll be dead.
Stop it. You're not going to drive me crazy. Just because there's something wrong with the electricity. You look around. Everything's all right. Nothing's wrong here. Nothing.
Is that typing? I heard typing.
So I.
Typing?
Just must have imagined.
Typewriters. Look at the typewriters. Typing. And there's no one. Who's typing? Who's typing?
I'm so tired. Me too.
I wonder if it's day.
I don't know. I don't think so. Sooner or later, someone will come along.
It'll be too late.
Don't say that.
Nothing's happened these last hours, has it? Nothing.
It will. When I get out of here, I never want to talk to you as long as I live. As long as you live. Stop talking like that, or do I have...
Don't hurt me.
I'm not hurting you. No one's going to hurt you. Or me. Trick. It's some kind of a trick. The typewriters. Electric ones, aren't they? Power. Something. It's got to be a trick. You don't believe it, do you? Believe what?
There's something in this room with us.
Where?
I don't know. But it's here.
What are you trying to do? Make me scared as you are scared?
There's something in this room.
Where? Anthony, where? Just you and me, that's all. You're not going to scare me. I'm not going to let myself get scared anymore. I want to get out of here, and I'm going to get out of here. My head's done.
Yes. I heard it, too. What? Something. Desk. Look. The desk moving. Look. That one moved. And that one. Mary, take your hands away from your eyes and look. Look, the desk. All of them. Moving. Mary, look. All the desk was moving. Was moving. Stay back, you. Stay back. Mary. Mary, all the desks in the room. They're moving down toward us. Mary, open your eyes, open your eyes. Please. You're not dead. You can't see. I'm all right. Oh. I thought... I'm all right. But what happened? You fainted. Did I? Yes. The desk. They're all around. All around. You're the one who's scared now, aren't you? Right. I am. I am. I'm not. Not scared. You? No. It's very nice.
What's very nice?
You know.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
You know.
I don't know. Tell me.
So warm.
What's warm?
The sun. So warm. Sitting in the sun. What? Nice when the sun is warm, isn't it? I always wanted to sit in the sun.
Oh, no.
You can sit in the sun if you want to, Bernice. It's all right.
Mary. Mary.
You don't have to shout. We'll go home soon. As soon as the sun goes down. We'll go home.
Oh, Mary.
I was scared before. Wonderful the way it is now. Out here in the sun. There's no reason to be scared when you're sitting in the sun.
Oh, Mary, I'd rather you'd be afraid. Do you hear me? I'd rather you'd be afraid.
No. The sun.
There is no sun. We're right here where we were in the office. And the light is still green, and the desks are moved all in around us. And we can't get out. Mary, be scared. Please stop looking at me the way you are and be scared.
You say we're not sitting in the sun?
No, no.
You must be crazy, Bernice. Because we are sitting in the sun. Are you crazy, Bernice?
All right. If that's what you want. We are sitting in the sun, dear.
I knew it. I used to be so scared. Now I'm all right.
You were right before. When you said there was someone in the room. There is. I can't see anyone. But there is someone.
The sun is so nice.
First the typewriters. And then the lights. And then the moving desk. And now waiting.
Who's waiting?
It's waiting.
Will we go home soon?
Yes. When? Soon. I think very soon. I was very scared. Yes. When you get scared enough, you can't get scared anymore. Oh, the sun is very nice. I think I'm getting that scared now myself. You hear something? What? Something? There's nothing. Nothing. No, there is something. I told you. Listen to me. Who's here with us? Who? Answer me. What do you want of us? Please answer me. What do you want of us? I will sleep. Like Mary's asleep. When you sleep, you don't think. I'm not going to think anymore. If I think about it, get like Mary is. No one will think. Sit here till morning with my eyes shut. And when it's morning, they'll get here. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. Eyes closed. Green light still shines through my lids. How could green light turn? No, stop thinking. Gotta stop thinking. Green light through my lids. Oh. No light. Open my eyes. Dark. The lights are gone. Dark again. Mary. Mary, wake up. Mary, the lights. Please wake up. I'm not asleep. Oh. I thought. Sun is very nice. Isn't it? The sun. You still think... Mary, don't you know? Can't you see we're sitting in the dark? Dark. Stay close to me. If days only come. I know. He'll be here soon. Who? In the dark. He'll be here. Who are you talking about? Who? Any minute now. Do you hear him? Here? I think he's coming now. Yes. He is. No, please, no. You're right. It is dark. Very dark. His kind of dark. Stop talking like that. You can't stop him. No one can stop him. What's the use of being afraid? If someone had only come. I've been telling you. Someone is coming. Right now. And he's sitting on the desk, looking at it. I'm glad he's here. He'll make my head stop hurting. He'll take me home. The floor. It's lifting. Yes. I feel it. The room. It's turning. Stop it. Stop turning the room. Let me out of here. Let me out of here.
Total of 15 Axis planes shot down in the Mediterranean theater of war. So much for the war news. Now the news of local interest to you early morning listeners. If you've been wondering why those dishes in the kitchen started to dance last night, the answer is an earth trembler, earthquake to you, of 5 seconds duration. The material damage was very slight, but 2 deaths are indirectly attributed to the earthquake. Bernice Saxton and Mirabelle Pressler, employed by the broadcasting company, were found dead this morning in the script department, where they'd been doing overtime work. Cause of the death is believed to have been heart failure induced by fright. The girls had been accidentally locked in the office, and when there was a failure of electric tower followed by earthquake, it is believed the young women were frightened to death. This concludes our morning broadcast.
Well, what did you think? Was this murder committed by a strange unknown entity living in the script office, or simply a case of being scared to death? It is rare, but it can happen. Intense emotion can trigger a body to shut down. This story also got me thinking, how scripted was old-time radio? The answer? Different shows were produced differently, so some relied heavily on scripting, while others were ad-libbed. Programs that happened in real time tend to lend themselves more towards ad-libbing. However, shows that had a story did in fact have scripts that would be followed. The actors would literally stand in front of a single microphone and read their parts, each taking their turn. In the background, the sound guys would follow along and make the appropriate effects to go along with the dialogue. It all had to be timed perfectly. I don't know about you, but this gives me a better appreciation of the golden age of radio. These are your stories, special edition. Welcome to These Are Your Stories. You might be asking, how is this different from the other segment? The answer is simple. These are special. But what makes them that way? Again, the answer is simple. They deserve special treatment. It may be the content of the story or how the story was obtained. Or it could be that the storyteller himself or herself is actually here in person. No matter the how, why, or where, what you'll hear in this segment is gonna be special. This time on These Are Your Stories Special Edition, we have a story told to me by Mary Campbell from Mission City, California. I tried to find that on the map, and all I can say is that it must be a suburb of San Diego. Mary says the story that I'm about to read, quote, has scarred me for life, and I have looked for explanation for what occurred. They all remain unsatisfactory. Mary opted to have me write her story, and I hope that I have captured it. Here it is, and she has titled it, The Thing at the Bottom of the Stairs. When I was a child, I was scared of the dark. I swore to my mother I heard voices in it. They were not evil, but they were not familiar, and so they scared me. It was not uncommon in the middle of the night for me to wake up to hear whispers, as I would call them. My mother said that they were just bumps in the night, and typical kids' nightmare material. I tried to explain to her it was more than that they sounded different from one another, the way people's voices do. On some nights, I would get so scared from these whispers that I would sleep in my mom's bed with her. It was an added bonus that the bathroom was directly outside of her bedroom door for any late-night trips. I should add at this point that when walking out into the hall to go to the bathroom, you look directly down the stairs that would lead to our living room on the first floor. One night, around Halloween, I woke up and went to the restroom. I walked out from the door and distinctly heard the phrase, "Look." And to my astonishment, a red light, almost like a spotlight, was cast on the floor at the very bottom of the stairs. The light had no other source. It was by itself, and I was transfixed by it. I, being a little kid and it only being a few days from Halloween, I knew what this light was. It was the Great Pumpkin. I had just watched the Charlie Brown special the night before, and I was so excited that I began walking down the stairs to greet him. After the third step, the light began to fade into the darkness of my living room. That's when I heard him. A very strong masculine voice, different from the rest and not at all like my dad. It said,
"Stop. Right now. Go back up those stairs."
I, of course, listened and turned around. Then I heard a very loud crash that sent me running back up the stairs to my mother's bed, where I jumped straight under the covers and stayed there the rest of the night. When we awoke the next morning, the spider lights that my mother had hung on the railing down the stairs were in a pile at the bottom. Some were broken from what must have been a very strong pull. The dry sink in the living room had fallen from the wall. My mother couldn't explain it. My father was worried that we had been the victims of a home invasion. My little sister? Well, she was crying. Nothing was missing and the doors were all sealed, and there was no explanation for what had happened. Then I saw it, and I kept quiet about it. I was so afraid that I could not force the words out of my mouth. On the wooden edge of the dry sink were 3 indentations where something had gripped it very tightly, a forceful grip. Something down there had grabbed it and thrown it down. I was terrified. I don't like to think about what was waiting for me downstairs that night, but I can tell you that the reality was something had physically acted on those lights and the dry sink. After that event, I never heard another whisper again, which is sad because in some ways I would have liked to thank the man that had stopped me from going down those stairs. This happened when I was 7 years old. I'm 20 now, and because of this incident, I am still afraid of the dark, especially shadowy stairwells. Mary from Mission City. Well, Mary, that is an incredible story. One of the best we've had on Ron's Amazing Stories. I want to thank you for sharing it with us. I could tell as you told it to me it was very difficult for you. I hope I did it justice.
Johnny, is this true?
As you know by now, I like to surf the internet to find the strange and unusual. I do this in the name of the podcast, but the truth is, I would do it anyway, even if there was no podcast. What you're about to hear is...
Johnny, is this true?
I will tell you a story and then ask the question, did I make it up or is it true? Your job is to decide. Let's get started.
Johnny, is this true?
Last year, during the month of Spooky, I did a special Johnny Is It True that got a lot of positive feedback. I took your really short stories and asked the question, did I make it up? You responded and sent in more really short encounters. Really short. So what to do with them? Then it came to me, why not do it again? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read 4 stories, but were they all sent in by you, or did I take pen to paper and fake them? Your job is to guess. Here we go. Story 1. Ron, I woke up one night after having a vivid dream. I was fighting off a ghost with a pitchfork. It gets stranger. I kept stabbing the thing and it wouldn't die. To make things worse, it was taunting me, saying,
"You're nothing, Bex. Give it up."
I did, by waking up. Now, was that one from my head or Beck's? Well, it turns out that Rebecca Routine from Quebec, Canada, has some really strange dreams. Thank you for sharing, Bex. Story 2. The other night I was standing in my kitchen looking for a snack. It was about 1 a.m. In walks my dad and says that I shouldn't be eating this late at night. He was probably right. But the problem was he died 20 years ago. I ran from the kitchen. Did this one really happen? It must have. It was sent in to me from Carrie Laporte in California. Now, was your dad a nutritionist in life? He was right, you know. You should have been asleep. Story 3. Hey, Ron, I can relate to the stories you have. Last night my dog jumped up on my bed and started to beg. I could smell freshly cooked sausage. I opened my eyes, and there was a dark shadow holding meat out, toying with my dog. I screamed, and he ran away. The dog, not the shadow. So, that one's so dumb it has to be fake, right? Well, if you believe that one, I have some swampland in Florida. Yep, that was made up by me. Story 4. I had this toy on my bedroom dresser, a wooden puzzled dinosaur. This thing must have been possessed, or a spirit had a liking to it. One morning it was all in pieces floating around my head. I kid you not. I reached out and all of the pieces fell to the floor. When I got down to pick them up, it was whole again. Was this real? Well, Danielle Schaefer sent it in from New England, and I have no reason to doubt her. However, it is strange. One has to wonder if it was a transformer ghost. Okay, so I wasn't truthful with all of them, but those are some pretty great short stories. I want to thank Rebecca, Carrie, and Danielle for answering the call and sharing them with us. That is it for this time on Johnny, Is It True?
It's Halloween time. The time for leprechauns, banshees, pixies, and hobgoblins to hold their annual powwow.
Yes, and the old witch rides through the skies on her broom.
Not this year, Lena. This year she streaks across the Milky Way with her knobby knees buckled into Bob Hope's toothbrush. There she goes.
But how would the witch get to know Bob Hope?
She accepted a blind date with him, the poor soul.
Sounds very romantic. Bing, I'll bet your kids have great plans for Halloween.
Yes, but I nipped them in the blueprint stage.
Oh, why don't you let them go out and have a little fun?
Fun? On Halloween, that demolition gang of mine makes a flock of termites look like a busy little builders. This year they're going to settle for a jack-o'-lantern, and that's all.
Have you got a pumpkin yet?
No, we're just going to stick a candle in Brother Everett's mouth. He lights up very easily. But I must say that Halloween has done much to advance the American way of life. A joyous season, and a welcome date on our calendar.
That was episode number 612, and I want to thank Oliver Robertson, Mary Campbell, and all the folks that helped with Johnny, Is It True? I think you're the best. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. There you will find any of the links I mentioned and how to contact us. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends all about it, and please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. Clicking that follow or like button helps us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.